world of sport is packed full of uncontrollables. The weather, the pitch, the opposition, the referee, bad luck, sponsors, media, all of these things have the potential to disrupt performance. So what elite athletes do particularly well is block out this stuff and figure out what their controllables are. If your mind focuses on them, you're confident and you have maximum chance of executing the performance that you want. Now, your world. I think your world is packed full of uncontrollables, just like the world of sport. You've got difficult clients, demanding customers, cheating competitors, ridiculous targets, frustrating meetings, moving goalposts. All of these things have the potential to distract you from your performance. So our advice is, no, ignore them. Figure out what your controllables are and you build your game plan around those controllables. Most business teams, when things aren't going so well, you've had a bad week or a bad quarter, we better get together, crisis meeting, what's going wrong, what have we got to change? We tend not to get together and review successes. We celebrate success, let's have a bottle of champagne and then on to the next thing. And in high-level sport these days, we spend as much time reviewing success as we do reviewing failure. They're both important. If you do that well, you'll then start to create a platform for what we call a strengths focus. And so high-performance environments now spend a lot of time helping people figure out what their strengths are. The research tells us that people who have the opportunity to focus on their strengths every day are 6 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs and perform better. If you want to get high employee engagement survey scores, make sure people are using their strengths every day at work. Now, interestingly, if you look at Eddie Jones, who at the moment seems to be walking on water, what has he done with the England rugby team? Well, if you read about his approach, one thing he has done is create an environment which has got back to focusing on what England is good at. He's figured out what the strengths of this England team are and has created a strategy and a game plan to exploit those strengths. The All Blacks have been written a lot about in sport and a lot of it has been applied to business. The All Blacks' remarkable success on the field begins with a very particular culture off the field, and this is the key point. This culture, the glue that holds it all together, has delivered extraordinary competitive advantage for more than a century. It's a values-driven culture. And one of the great examples of this values-driven culture is the sweep the sheds element of the culture. Never be too big to do the small things that need to be done. The All Blacks take with them on tour 2 or 3 long-handled brooms. And at the end of every match and training sessions as well, I believe, 2 or 3 of the players are given the role to sweep up the changing rooms. Why do they do that? Well, you can figure out why they're doing that, to keep them grounded, to keep it real. So this book talks about high-performing teams promoting a culture of honesty and safe conflict. The head coach actually doesn't have to do much because these values are so strong. The players police each other. They give and they receive feedback. They call each other when a player steps out of line. In business, there's a sort of fear around feedback still. In high-performing team environments, in sport, feedback's just what you do. There's no anxiety about it. It's not official, it's not formal. It's just what we do all the time. And what we try and promote is a culture where these feedback conversations are going on all the time in an honest, safe environment. So that's a question I ask business leaders. What are you doing to create that environment which is going to be conducive to developing the feedback habit? I really like putting up a slide of these two because they're the 2 captains who have won the most games as captain, but their leadership style was completely different. So Michael Vaughan on the right-hand side, a high-energy, outgoing, gregarious extrovert, and that's how he led. Andrew Strauss, a thoughtful, reflective, quite intellectual introvert, and that's how he led. So very contrasting styles, but where they met in the middle was the emphasis they both placed on creating an environment where people can have fun and enjoy what they do. So how do we create that environment where people love the pressure? Both Strauss and Vaughan have sat in on many of their team meetings, and they would always finish a team meeting with the message, it's going to be tough tomorrow. It's a high-pressure situation. It's going to challenge us. Let's come to work with a smile on our face, and let's enjoy those pressures. So we have to keep smiling. We have to have fun. Thank you very much for listening. I hope there's something in there of practical use from the 7 themes that I've covered that you can take away and use in your work environments. Thank you very much for your attention.